What's going on, guys? You're watching The Hungry Handgunner. Got a few things I want to cover. I'm going to wait for people to start tuning in. I've got notes. Let me adjust this. Yeah, there we go. So today, I'm going to be covering gun control stuff that's going on in Canada. Also talking about what firearms I'm considering for my next firearm purchase, and wanted to hear from you guys as well. So we'll get to that. And I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to do some more FAQs and things like that. So I think I'll go ahead. I'm waiting for some people to come on. Firearms that I'm considering. So I'm trying to keep it under 500, and I'm looking at compact 357s or 38s. I'm also looking at the Taurus TX22 or the Keltec CP33. Possibly another 9mm. So that's kind of where that's at. Hey, Ralph, what's going on, man? Hope everybody's doing good. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Those are the only ideas I've got, but I'm open to suggestions. So what I really wanted to talk about tonight is going to be what's going on in Canada. Neil Van Alstyne, and I'm sure I mispronounced that, actually emailed me. He lives up there and was talking about what all happened up there. It happened very quickly. So what's going on, Kieran? Basically, there was a mass shooting in Nova Scotia. 22 people died, and the shooter, I'm not going to go into his name or any of the information on him, but he was impersonating an RCMP or Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer. And then on the wakes of that, Canada's Prime Minister basically unilaterally enacted some gun control. In Canada, they were already limited to 5-round magazines, from what I understand. The shooter did not possess any of these weapons legally, and he just pretty much took a very heavy-handed approach. AR-15s, Mini 14s, amongst 1,500 total models of assault-style rifles are now banned. They're going to give them a 2-year amnesty, from what I was reading, to kind of figure out if they're going to do a buyback or grandfather them. And I think that's it's kind of scary, right? If somebody could unilaterally just pass something like that. I think we need to stay vigilant here. I don't get political too often on the channel, but I think we need to be pretty watchful here. Something like that doesn't happen. So I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or anything like that. That's you and your conscience. So go with that. But I think it's important to just keep an eye on things like that. I've got viewers from Canada. Kieran or Kezel is from Australia. I've got people from places where gun control is much more restrictive than what we have here. And they've all pretty much said the same thing to me at some point, which is, be grateful for what you have and make sure that you don't lose it. So, Ralph, I'm not sure. I was scanning it. I don't remember if the SKS was on there or not, but hopefully not, because it's actually a decent rifle, especially in the wake of banning all the other things. An SKS is a pretty good option. So if you guys have any thoughts on that, feel free to weigh in on the Canada situation. Also, if you have any questions, if you want to ask me, go ahead. I'm sure some of you, I forget who it was that asked the last time, it was asking about the guitar, and then I wrote that song about the 1911, so you might regret that one. I'm not sure, depending on what your opinion of the 1911s are. And also, if you want to weigh in on the next gun purchase, I'm pretty open-minded on this one. I don't really have anything I'm dead set on, so just got to be somewhat cheap. Under $500 is where I'm keeping it. So I'm actually leaning pretty hard towards the Taurus TX22, just because for the money, it seems like it's going to be a fun gun. 22, I've got a lot of it, and it's fairly cheap still. So, although I am reloading 9, so there is that. Got some videos uploaded, but YouTube is flagging them pretty easily lately. No matter what I put on there, they're not liking what I'm uploading. So I'm appealing those and waiting, and then gonna make those public. A Howard 2 Cable said, "What's your CZ experience?" I've got a P09 Urban Gray, a P01 Urban Gray, and a P10C That's FDE. Uh, Great experience with CZ. If I find a good deal on one, that's not off the table. So sometimes I come across some that have good prices. So I may do that as the next gun. I'm not sure. Really want a Shadow too, but that's a little bit outside of my price range right now. So let's see. Kieran said John Howard did the same here in Australia. All semi-auto rifles and pump shotguns heavily restricted because an unlicensed range person with illegal firearms murdered people. Yeah, it seems like the majority often get punished by the guy that didn't follow any laws to begin with. It's terrible. So kind of it's a self-defeating thing, you know. If they were already going to disobey laws in the first place to hurt people, I don't think they're going to follow any that you pass about firearms. So I hate it. I'm not sure what we can do other than just raise awareness. As soon as stuff, at least here, I'm not too familiar with how the political system works in other countries, but at least here, if I come across a bill that I see, I try to just raise awareness so people know what's going on. Sometimes this stuff tries to get passed through the back door, and that's not cool at all. So, yeah, gun manufacturers that I prefer to stay away from. H&K, just because it's not under $500. Now, in the long run, I have no problem with H&K. I just can't afford one right now, so that's not on the table. A Howard 2 Cable said the only people that gun laws affect the people you didn't have to worry about to begin with. Yeah, without a doubt. The people that are already worried about the laws are the only ones going to pay attention to the new ones. And even then, I think you hit a point of diminishing returns, right? Where if people are following the law now, you keep passing more laws. Eventually, you're going to pass laws that they're not willing to follow. So you turn good people into legally bad people, still probably morally good people, but it reaches a point where good people say enough. You know, I'm not going to play the game anymore. So I think historically that's been borne out. Sorry, guys, I mess up my words every now and then, but historically speaking, you reach a boiling point where the majority say no more. I'm not going to be punished for the actions of the minority. So pretty crappy situation, especially if they're in Canada. Funny story about Canada. I've been there. I was there for probably about 15 minutes on a Boundary Waters camping trip. We crossed the line. We were in canoes. Had to relieve some pressure, if you catch my drift, from overly hydrating, and pretty much peed on Canada and came back to the U.S. So no disrespect to the Canadians, but that's my sole experience with Canada. The Spammins. Canada does not have a Second Amendment. Justine Trudeau says no more guns. Yeah, that's true. They don't have it delineated with a Second Amendment, so I'm not sure what the process is for them up there. Armadon 1, ultimately get what you want because it's your money, but I want to know if you think Canics are good to go. Also, I don't think guns will go anywhere in the U.S. I don't either, at least not with the kind of legislation they passed in Canada. I don't think that we're going to see the same sort of approach here. I think it would be a much more gradual approach. Canics, my experience is fairly limited. I have one of the original TP9s. Never had an issue with it. The only, as far as reliability and performance goes, the grip just didn't fit my hand just right. There was a corner that rubbed on the knuckle of my thumb. And that's really the only reason I got rid of it. Shooting it for a few hundred rounds, I'd get a blister there. But the gun performed well, especially for the price point. I think it was like $250. It was right when they had first come out. I snagged one, and it was a good gun. I can't say anything bad about them. And the few that I've looked at since, the grip is still pretty much the same, so I haven't jumped on them. But they have a lot more features now. Optics ready. Some of them are coming with optics. I think that's awesome. Hey, Tom, how are you doing tonight, man? So yeah, Canics I think are good guns. I think they're good to go quality-wise. It's just going to be personal preference. Like everything else, I guess. I know some people love CZ, hate CZ. Same with Smith & Wesson, Glock, everything, I guess. Although I have to say I wasn't an FN fan guy, but that 509 Tactical is taking its toll. It's a lot of fun to shoot. Bill Alexander said Canada will be just like the Aussies, the Kiwis, and the Brits. We are next if the New World Order gets its way. Never. Yeah, I can see that coming. We're kind of the last one holding on to the level of freedom, at least in the Second Amendment category. Eventually, I think we are going to see a pretty heavy encroachment on it. Certainly, probably in my lifetime, maybe not in the next decade or 20 years, but my opinion is that it's going to get ugly at some point. If you slowly convince people that guys like us that are into guns are the bad guys, enough people are going to listen, and that's not a good situation. Ralph says, get a Rock Island 1911. Ralph, did you see my song on 1911s? No, I have nothing against them, honestly speaking, but I may. It just depends on what I find. Just curious, you guys. It seems like I have a lot of 1911 guys that follow me, so that's kind of cool. I'm learning. I know most of them are 45s and single action and single stack. That's about the extent of it. So I'm not really a expert on any of it. I just I try to learn and I share as I go with you guys. So I will say I have another video for you guys on your favorite pistol, and I'm calling it your favorite pistol because you guys get really excited every time I put a video up. That little Jennings 25 is still with us, still going strong. I can't make it choke yet. I mean, the first video it did terrible, and then I gave it some TLC, and now it's just cruising right along. So that's pretty cool there. I do have to get more ammo though. I shot up literally all the ammo I had left for it. So let's see. Hey, Howard 2 Cable says, I love my Rock Island Armory. Would never carry the boat anchor daily. Take it camping for hogs. I've actually heard from a couple people that live out in Texas. They were saying that 45 ACP hardball is actually a fairly decent round for hogs, fairly close range. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with wild hogs here. Most of my people here that I know that hunt them, they are usually taking them out from a little bit further away, and they seem to really like 458 SOCOM, so I'm sure that's entertaining. I typically carry a 357 mag if I'm going to be out in bear and hog country, loaded with 180 grain buffalo bore hard casts. I've shot a few out of that gun, and they pack a punch. Bill Alexander says, have one. Good pistol. Just got a Smith & Wesson 5906 police trade-in. Love it. Rock Island 1911s are great. And he has the SS TAC model. And those older Smith & Wesson police trade-ins are getting harder and harder to find. I remember it wasn't all that long ago. You could walk into just about any pawn shop or gun store, and they'd have one or two, it seemed like, just sitting there for a fairly good price. But now they're not as common. I probably should have jumped on that. Ralph had said if the Jennings was fully automatic, man, that would be awesome. I actually was looking for extended magazines for it, and they have some 9-rounders. They want like $50 for the mag, so I was like, well, I'm gonna give $75 for the gun. So I can't bring myself to do it. Let's see. CZ75 SPO1 tactical, good gun, heavy. Ditch the plastic guide rod spring, get metal and a new recoil spring. Yes, that one is on my want list for sure. I have the PO one, and I love it. I actually got it as kind of like a novelty thing, and ended up carrying it for quite a while. Actually, I think I was carried it up until I started carrying the 509 tactical, and then that one just kind of stuck. So. Takes a lot of work for me to switch carry guns. I actually had a guy that commented on the 509 tactical video, I think it was, and it might have been an unrelated video, but he was saying, it's not a good idea to switch your carry, and I agree with him. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes for me to change a carry gun. There's drills I run. I've actually got a video I need to get up for you guys on doing dot torture and just draw the first shot, and draw 2 controlled pairs and things like that. So there's a lot that goes on off camera before I say, okay, I'll carry this gun in public. The PO1, I was surprised. That was really my first foray into carrying a double action, single action on the civilian side of things. Obviously in the military we had the Berettas, but we didn't really have a choice. So Yeah, the PO1 was really surprising. So the SPO1 Tactical is definitely something I want. Let's see. It's funny. A Howard 2 Cable says for defense, not hunting, and it's that or a PO1, and always have a 12 gauge nearby. And 12 gauge is hard to beat for versatility. Slugs, buck, bird. It's a good one. 2A encroachment may well get ugly. We've got a huge number of vocal and rabid pro 2A peeps, us, plus a ton of new gun owners coming to the fold. The Second Amendment is far from dying. And I think that's even more true now with everything that's taken place after the coronavirus thing. A lot of new people that, for whatever reason, had never bought guns, went out and got some, or people that hadn't owned them in years went out and got one. I had friends that are pretty far left leaning, never saw a need for guns, that were messaging me, asking me for recommendations. I think if they were going to try to pass some gun control, it's going to be harder, at least while people still remember how they felt with all this going on. I think it's going to be harder for them to try to get anything through. Uh, the feeling of vulnerability or fear or whatever motivated these people, that's still going to be fresh in their mind, or at least I hope it will be. I hope they resolve to never feel like that again. The only thing I worry about is kind of what's good for me is not good for everybody else mentality. We may see that to an extent, but um, I think those of us that have been on the Pro 2A side of things for a very long time will probably be able to help influence how people see things going forward. And I think the reaction's been pretty good by those of us that are gun guys or girls to speak, or so to say. We've kind of stepped up as a whole from what I've seen and helped these people out. So that should lead to positive things in the long run. Um, there hasn't been a whole lot of I told you so's that I saw. I think most of it's been hey, this sucks for everybody. So if I can help you, just let me know. I think that's been really cool to see. I've put out some videos for new gun owners, and it looks like a lot of gun channels on YouTube did that too. So it was really cool to see everybody just kind of stepping up and trying to make some sort of training available in absence of the typical in-person training that was there. Chris Edmondson said I look weird without hair. Yeah, the first couple times I saw myself in the mirror, my blood pressure shot up, fight or flight kicked in. It's definitely a weird feeling. Bill Alexander said we need the White House again and the full Congress. Time to take out the dim trash. Yeah, there's a lot of out of touch politicians. I'd say that it's been so long since they've done anything that even remotely relatable to what you guys and me and normal people, what our lives look like, and theirs are two completely different things. And they don't understand that. If you have a armed security team that's at your beck and call 24/7, you're not really going to understand why somebody like me or you wants to have some means of protecting our family if that door gets kicked in. They're just so far out of touch, they don't understand it. Let's see. Chris said, I've known you how long? This is the first time I've seen you buzz. Yeah, I haven't had it this short since the military days. And even then, I normally kept it longer on top. So I just got fed up. It was time to go. It was a phase, I think. So one other thing I want to talk to you guys about, I ordered more reloading components today. So I think I just ordered bullets today. But as I was doing that, I was looking at ammo availability, and it's starting to look like some of it's opening back up. I can't give you guys any definite websites. Just as a whole, it looks like there's more in stock than there was a week or two ago. So if you're in the market, prices are still elevated from what I've seen. Some of it is, I hate to use the term price gouging because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But some of it looks excessively inflated, and others of it look, pretty even across the board, that there has been a price increase for raw components and obviously supply and demand. So it is more expensive than it was at the start of the year, but at least now it's in stock. A lot of it is. So that's that. 9 was still kind of hard to find. Fortunately, I don't shoot a lot of 115 grain. I shoot mostly 124. That's what my carry ammo is. I prefer federal 124 NATO spec. Had to settle for just 124 anything brass case. And normally, I used to not be picky about the brass case. I used to shoot a lot of steel, but now getting into reloading, I like having the brass. So, which has led me to having a newfound appreciation for revolvers. A lot easier to police your brass instead of staying hunched over, coming through leaves and stuff. So there is that. 5.56 and 9mm are hard to find in some places. Yes, 5.56 has got crazy. I didn't even look at that today, but I think it was last week I was looking. Man, that people have lost their minds on some of it. Even on like Gunbroker and things like that, people reselling stuff that they had, ran out and bought a bunch of it. I can't, I can't really throw stones at people for being hoarders. Because I think we all are to some extent. I think we all have at least one caliber that we hoard. I guess it depends on your definition. I'm not going to get upset at anybody for stocking ammo back. That's a wise thing to do. But there are people that apparently feel comfortable reselling some of what they stockpiled, and those prices are through the roof. I mean, you just look at it, and you're just like, oh dear God, and you start laughing. It's going to take a while for that to come back down to where it was, because what's going to happen is there's going to be waves. Stuff's going to come in stock and people are going to grab it because they're worried it's going to go back out of stock. So you're just going to have this perpetual tumbling shortage, I think. But eventually it'll ease back out. Let's see. Go Beverly Hills Cop and get a Smith & Wesson 669, $300 or $400 on Gunbroker. I'm going to write it down. I'll be honest with you, I can't think of what that is off the top of my head, so I am writing it down. I don't just tell you guys stuff. If I say I'm going to do it, I do it. I may forget, so I'll tell my wife if I say I'll do it, I will. Just have to remind me every 6 months or so. But I am going to check into that. Let's see. Ralph says, always troublesome that ammo factories are in the Northeast. I've thought that for a while, that it's kind of odd that a lot of gun manufacturers and ammo manufacturers seem to be in states that aren't very pro 2A. So I've kind of wondered about that. I know it's got to be a hassle to try to uproot and move somewhere that's a little bit more 2A friendly, but it is kind of interesting to me for sure. Okay, all right. Like the 5906, but compact, second generation instead of third. Okay, still gonna look into them just because it sounds like a good deal. Michigan is still partially shut down. Bill, I feel you. Georgia opened back up somewhat. So I am still out of work. I was supposed to go back tomorrow. I normally work night shifts, so I kind of geared up to do that and found out Thursday that they're going to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and I'm on second string. So still got another 2 weeks at home, which is nice to spend time with the kids, but I'm not built for this sitting at home life. So that's why I've been trying to put out more content for you guys. Make hay while the sun shines. I know a lot of people are stuck home and don't have, especially if you live in an apartment or a neighborhood or things like that. I know it's got to be getting kind of cramped. I've got friends that are like, man, I'm going nuts. So I've tried to put out some content to help entertain as best I can. I know I'm not as funny as I think I am, but I try. What you guys can expect when I do go back to work, though, is at a minimum 1 video a week. I try to get 2 out. But you can definitely count on 1 a week, normally on the weekends. Let's see. Chris wants me to buy this shotgun. All right, so Chris sent me this picture. I hate to get my phone out while I'm videoing, but I got to show you guys a picture of this thing. It looks wicked. It's a pump action, I think, with a drum. Let's see here. I've got it. It is nuts. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that. But he's telling me to buy that. Man, the only problem I have with shotguns is I can only do so much with them, and then I get kind of bored. So I'm not going to do another shotgun right now. Federal is in Anoka, Minnesota. I hope I said that right. And I've been through Minnesota. I like it up there. That's where we would always go into the Boundary Waters from. Let's see. Middle Tennessee is open. That's awesome. Armadon one said he was looking at ammo prices on Arms List, and it made him get a headache. Um, yes, I agree. He asked if that's have I cut down on shooting, and is that why I got into reloading? I have cut down on shooting. I've got ammo. My problem is I don't want to shoot up too much of it if I'm not sure that I can get more. And at the prices, when I saw the prices going up, I was like, well, that's a little bit more than I typically budget for. So I had the reloading equipment or most of it, and I was like, well, better now than never. So that is why I got into it. Even though reloading components are just as hard to find right now, especially like primers and bullets for 9mm. But plan on stocking up on that. And I'm actually enjoying the whole process of reloading. So that's kind of a did it to save money and be able to keep shooting, and I'm actually really enjoying it. So that's awesome. Let's see here. Mike Wellington said just got some 9mm and 7.62 by 39 brass and a SIG MPX Copperhead. Midnight Black from local gun store Friday. Mike, you had a good Friday, man. Those Copperheads are sweet. I don't know that I've ever shot 7.62 by 39 in brass. I've only ever shot it in steel. So there is that. And the Spamman said a man with a full head of hair who just shaves it is just showing off. So funny story. I wanted to grow my hair out, and I started growing everything, but I couldn't stand it over my ears. I guess my parents were fairly strict growing up, so we were clean-cut kids. And then the military obviously couldn't have it long, so it bothered me to have it long over the ears. So I just grew the top out, and then it just got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm done. I came home and cut it off. I didn't even talk to my wife first. So yeah, there was that. Tom said, just getting into reloading after dragging for years. Rock Chucker Supreme, nothing else yet. So yeah, Tom, that's kind of what I did. I had a good friend that sent me a Lee single stage, and actually you can see the powder measure right there. Got set up a little bench on top of the cabinet and screwed some 2x4s and stuff. It's pretty bare bones. I'm still getting the office set up here, but definitely doing it as cheaply as possible. But it's saving money, and more importantly, it's fun to do. So, like tonight, when I get done on here, everybody else is going to be sleeping. I can crank out 100, 200 rounds, and there's range ammo for a whole session of drills and everything else. So it's kind of cool. A Howard to Cable said Texas is starting to open up slowly. Got my hair cut illegally yesterday after 8 years in the military. The ears bugged me bad. Man, I only did 4, and they bugged me, so I can only imagine. Isn't it crazy saying you got your hair cut illegally? it's going nuts. Fortunately, my wife used to cut my hair back when I was in the military, just because it saved money, and more importantly, I didn't have to go all the way to base and deal with that whole whatever, or try to find somewhere in town that was open. It's just easier for her to do it. So this one's not a hard style, but she cuts the boys' hair and stuff too. So made it okay here, but some of my friends are going nuts. So Spamman said, time to watch Breaking Bad, subbed. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight. That's awesome. Just watching said he got an H&K 416 22 LR pistol. Man, that sounds fun, man. Those 416 22s look like a great time. Okay, I'm going to slaughter this name. I know it, but Shibursuru, I guess. I'm just going to call you Shibo. Is that okay? But he said he made it to a live stream. I know you missed the last couple, and it doesn't help that I don't give a whole lot of notice. I kind of run it by my wife. I'm like, hey, instead of watching The Last Kingdom or whatever, I'm going to go live tonight. She's like, okay, that's fine. So try to put it out as soon as I get approval. So yeah, there is that. Just watching said, didn't own any guns until Beto said he was going to take your AKs and AR-15s. I have some friends that were the same way. Nothing like telling somebody you're going to make it impossible for them to have something where it kind of motivates people to get out there. I've been into guns pretty much since I could legally own them. And I'm pretty sure after he said that, I went out and bought another one. So I definitely feel you there. Thankfully, he dropped out, even though try not to get too political, but Biden did say that if he got it, then Beto was going to be in charge of his gun control stuff. So yeah, we may not be out of the woods yet. So, but hopefully Beto goes away. That would make me very, very happy. Man, just watching said now he has 6. So you jumped in head first to this firearms ownership thing. That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome right there. The question is, do you get out and get a chance to shoot them a lot? I know when I first started getting into guns, I didn't really have the opportunity to shoot a lot. I was just kind of collecting them, and then started shooting more, and I started buying guns. So that was kind of cool. Hey, Howard 2 Cable says, should I buy a revolver or Form 1 my 6.5 Grindle and put a 12-inch on it? Ooh, I don't know. I feel bad giving you any advice there because I don't know how the 6.5 is going to do with 12-inch barrel. If you do that, email me at thehungryhandgunner.com. I want to see pictures of the muzzle flash if you can get it. That sounds pretty cool. Bill Alexander says, if you know how many you have, you do not have enough. Valid point. Valid point. Somebody else told me you only need one more gun than you currently have. And that's just keep it going. So that's pretty cool. I've actually used it on my wife once. Just watching said, got a range membership and shoot 2 to 3 times a week. That is awesome, man. You can't beat that. 2 to 3 times a week is more than a lot of people I know go out. So that's fantastic. One thing I was considering doing is I was going to see if anybody had ever, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but Form 1, I think it's Form 1 if you are going to make your own suppressor. So everybody that I've talked to or read about online is saying that those come back faster than doing a traditional tax stamp for a suppressor. So I was thinking about going that route for my 22s. So I didn't know if anybody had ever done that, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, you've got to get your stamp before you start assembling said suppressor. Otherwise, the ATF comes and shoots your dog. That's not good for anybody. So kind of like the dog. But Shibasuru, I'll learn it one of these days. I'll be doing Hooked on Phonics off camera one day. I'm lucky if I get to once a month. Man, I feel you. I'm lucky to be able to shoot here, but before we had a place where I could shoot all the time, both the old house and here, I didn't shoot much at all. Especially when I lived in the apartments, man, maybe like once every other month. So I feel you there for sure. Hey, Howard 2 Cable said apparently it's weeks for an electronic Form 1. See, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing it's pretty quick, relatively speaking. There was something on the table not too long ago where it was if you didn't hear back in 90 days, it was proposed that you were going to be able to go get your suppressor and carry on if they didn't deny you. I'm sure that didn't go through, but if that did, that would be fantastic. 3 months still sucks. I still think that it's wrong to charge people $200 to essentially be more responsible with their firearm. You know, they put up walls on the side of highways for noise pollution. And I know in some other countries where the guns are more restricted, suppressors are an over-the-counter thing, and it's considered impolite to show up without a suppressed firearm at a range. So I don't know, that would be really, really cool if that went through, but I doubt it. So Bill Alexander, shoot every day, only it's my mouth. I do my fair share of that. A lot of you guys are here because of me shooting off my mouth at the Caleb Giddings guy. So somebody said something that he commented saying he was going to say something about me. And I was like, whatever, I'm not going to respond. So as far as I know, that's over, and that makes me happy. So Tom H said, every time I buy any kind of AR parts, it somehow multiplies into another rifle. That's why I don't buy AR parts. I know that if I end up with enough components to justify the rest of the components, I'm going to have another AR. And yeah, that's not going to be good. Let's see. Andy Stampley. I'm terrible with names, guys. So if you want to send me a Hooked on Phonics thing, I will try my best. 90-day thing is too common sense to pass. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. It makes too much sense. They're not going to let that go through. Just watching suggestions for a semi-auto 12 gauge under 1,000. I will go ahead and admit I'm out of my depth. I have 3 shotguns. I have a Maverick 88 made by Mossberg. It's like one of the cheapest pump actions you can get, and it's been bulletproof. I actually need to get you guys a video. I've had it for a long time, put a lot of rounds through it. I have a Remington 105 CTI, which isn't super tactical. It is semi-auto. I'll do a video on that too It's kind of carbon fiber, so it's super light. With birdshot, it's not bad, but with buck, it hurts. It's more of a clay shotgun, maybe dove or things like that. And I have a Stoger over and under 12. So I'm really out of my depth on semi-auto shotguns. Maybe these guys can help you out. I see some suggestions coming through there. So that's that. I'm not much of a shotgun guy. I know how to use one, and that's about it. And by use one, I mean I know how to operate it, but I'm not gonna win any competitions or look super high speed, low drag. Not that I do with anything else either, but shotguns are not my thing. So I was gonna see if you guys had any suggestions for the next victim of my songwriting. No, I mentioned Glock, and I've got something going for Glock, but I'm going to get some help on it, I think. I've got a friend that may come through and join me on that one. But if you guys had another gun brand, caliber, style that you want to see roasted, I will take suggestions. Oh man, A. Howard 2 Cable said SIG right off the bat. Okay, I think I already had things going on in my head for that one, so that should be pretty easy to write. Shiba Subaru said cried with the 1911 song. I don't know what hit me, man. I was like, I wrote it in one day. I told my wife, I was like, I'm gonna go upstairs and play guitar, and she was like, really? I don't play that much anymore. I was like, yeah, I kind of want to write something. So I did a little clip of like the first verse and the chorus and brought it down and played it for her. And she's like, you're not. I was like, I am. It's going to happen. So I figured people would get mad, but I'm very pleased to see people weren't all that mad. So it made me happy. Yeah, it was just a good starting point. The whole 1911 meme is definitely overplayed, but it's funny. First two handguns were 1911s and I almost died. My first handgun was a 1911. I want to say it was a high standard Crusader compact, I think. I think I took it to two different gunsmiths to get it to get through a mag without choking. And that was not a pleasant gun to have. But I've got the Emperor Scorpion Fastback now. It's a good 1911. It's not a true one, from what I understand. And I also had the Kimber Ultra Carry 2, which was reliable. Performance-wise, I have a scar here, and it was digging in there, so I ended up trading it off for that Beretta M9A3. So came out pretty good on that trade. Had a 45 that I didn't really like to shoot that much for a 9 that I've really enjoyed. They found pictures of the new Glock rifle. It's similar to a 42-inch 2x4. Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day, he was like, yeah, I bought a Glock 19. It's one of my friends that just bought his first gun. He's like, yeah, I bought a Glock 19. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome, man. He goes, I think I'm going to get another Glock. I was like, why? If you buy one Glock, you basically got them all unless you want another caliber. He was like, I want a bigger one. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess. Shiba Suru said, the only handgun I have is a Colt 1911 full size. It's my EDC. Okay, so if anybody had the right to get mad about that song, it would have been you. You didn't. So hats off to you, sir. Well, hair off to you, sir. A. Howard 2K Bull said J-frames. I want to roast J-frames so bad, but I feel bad because so many people go out and buy their first gun and get pushed towards a J-frame, and it's one of those things. It's like I can't roast them too hard because a lot of times people get pushed into them, and they're not bad guns, but it's just like a subcompact anything. It's going to take more work to shoot well. So I feel bad for a lot of people that are like, yeah, my boyfriend or husband or whatever told me to get this. And it's a lot of times it's women, and it's bonus points if it's a purple or pink somewhere on the gun. You see it with Skies and all sorts of little guns. I feel terrible for them. Old Justin said, hey, big sexy. Man, you can't be hitting on me on a live stream like that. Funny story about Justin. So the 509 Tactical, it was literally a year back from the date that I got mine. He had come up to my other house. I worked with him at work. He brought his up there. And I was talking so much trash about red dots. Like, man, they're pointless. Nobody needs them. He had an RMR on his. And I think 2 magazines in, I was like, okay, I got to eat my words because these are, I was faster with it. So it's his fault that I got into the FN 509, and it's his fault that I carry a gun with a red dot now. So there's that. Just watching said High Point song. Whew, that would either go really, really well or really, really bad, depending on High Point fans see it or not. I've got to be honest, I don't hate High Point um, nearly as much as people think I should. And I'll say why. The few that I've shot have been super reliable. That being said, that's really about the only good thing I can say about them. If you if that was the only option you had, then I'm not going to fault you for protecting your family. But I see a lot of people that just they, it's just as good as something else, and it's not. But I don't want to be too mean here. Uh, should the Subaru said there's High Point fans? Oh, there are. There are. The Concealed Carry Facebook group. It's literally just called Concealed Carry. If you go in there and the memes don't normally get left up long, somebody takes them down. Somebody will make a High Point meme, and it goes downhill fast. Let's see here. Bonus points if I can roast the PO1. Oh, don't underestimate me. I will end up roasting myself several times over by the time this set of songs is done. I will definitely roast the PO1. Weight sign is okay, but Smith & Wesson J frames are protected. Nah, I'll take any sign over Smith on just customer service. Let's see. No, Springfield fans cannot take a joke. XD guys, that might be the closest I have having a credible threat of violence towards me is if I go after the XDs. Which is to say, I'll definitely do it. It's just if I stop posting, then you know that maybe they got their grip on the grip zone and got the gun to work and the grip safety engaged and it didn't jam and they took me out. So there is that. Just watching said if you have to say just as good, it means it's not. Yeah, that is true. And I try not to be a gun snob because it wasn't all that long ago when I couldn't afford diddly. And even now I've got to work overtime and save up for it. So there's a difference between somebody not knowing better and somebody having the opportunity to learn, choosing not to. I think that's kind of the approach I take with everything in life. Not knowing something is okay. Having the opportunity to learn and choosing not to, that's where it gets bad. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but if enough people are saying the same thing and it's backed up by research or stats, and people still choose to ignore it, that becomes on them. Shibasuru said, I can only shoot a Glock 9mm, anything in higher caliber, recoil bites into his finger. They do have a little bit of trigger slap. I carried a Glock 23 2 years, maybe 3 years. I don't know. I carried a 40 for a long time. So I've got a couple of buddies that are 40 guys. And when I tell them, I start ragging on 40, they're like, man, I was like, nah, I carried one. I understand how the round works. Yeah, I did not like the Glock 23. And I'm not really a 40 fan in general. As a matter of fact, I don't own any 40s right now. So I was waiting for somebody when I was asking for gun recommendations. I was waiting for somebody to bring up 40. It's not going to happen. No desire to go back to that. Let's see. Andy said, me too. Glock 23 pinches my finger every shot. I just feel like you're not getting enough of a ballistic advantage to justify the higher recoil, lower magazine capacity, and the added cost of ammunition and increased wear on the guns over time. Is it more powerful than a 9? Yeah, on paper, it is. There's no denying that. But there's a trade-off there, and in my opinion, it's not worth it. Everybody's got their own parameters, so there is that. I've got friends that carry 5.7s, and the cost of ammo for them to get out and practice is worth it to them. It's not to me. So there is that. Just watching said I've got range ammo. What's some good self-defense rounds in 9mm? I swear by the Federal HSTs. If I couldn't get my hands on those, which I typically buy a couple hundred at a time, it is expensive, but then as if I chamber a round and I start noticing a bullet setback, I use some calibers. If I start noticing that round getting out of spec, I go ahead and toss it and shoot it the next time I'm out at the range. Federal HSTs are good. I like the Spear Gold Dots. The Hornady Critical Duty is actually going to be a little bit better, at least from the testing I've seen, than the Hornady Critical Defense. Those are 3 really good ones. At the end of the day, though, I would stay clear of things like the RIP rounds. The Liberty Civil Defense is really good on paper. It's going to be a super light bullet for caliber. It's a solid copper, I believe, but the expansion or the penetration just wasn't there. The expansion was pretty good. The penetration wasn't that reliable from what I saw, and that may have changed from the last time I looked at it. But I tend to go with stuff that's fairly easy to get my hands on and is not too much focus on the marketing. And a lot of it is going to be marketing. They want to make money, sell you the high price stuff. Um, Honestly, any jacketed hollow point is going to be somewhat better than a full metal jacket round, at least from the standpoint of energy transfer and potential collateral damage, at least in my opinion. But I definitely recommend the Federal HSTs. Shibasuru said reloaded 40 a lot. Ex-mother-in-law needed them for her carry. Is that why she's your ex-mother-in-law? So I couldn't help it there. Andy said only got it because in 08 I could find ammo for it. That is true, and even now, from what I've seen, 9 and 45 is harder to find than 40. So there is that. I will say I've had zero problem finding 25 ACP. So obviously I'm onto something with this Jennings 25. Nobody else has caught on yet, so it's going to be the new hipster trend for all of us to carry these Saturday night special 25s. I can't even keep a straight face. 124 grain SIG V crown is what I carry now. Yeah, I forgot to mention that one. The SIG V crowns are good. I will say, I know this is off topic, but in some of the 45s I have, they don't want to feed right. They've got a really, really wide opening on the front. So just be mindful of that if it's 45. No love for Winchester Ranger tees. No, Armadon, I like them. The problem is I can't find them here, so it kind of fell off my radar. They do perform well. Let's see. Ranger tees is bastard grandchildren of the Black Talon. Man, that is the truth. It is a rebranded Black Talon, basically. Let's see. Oh man. Well, at least you're on good terms with the ex-mother-in-law Shibasuru, and that is good. I have an ex-mother-in-law. I never even met her. I wasn't married long enough to meet the mother-in-law, so that tells you how that was many years ago. Let's see, trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. Zombie Max. Mike, I have some old Zombie Max 45 ACP rounds. Forget what it was. Something in Virginia. Might have been when a hurricane was coming through when I was stationed there, or they were freaking out about the possibility, but I couldn't find any kind of hollow points. But they had zombie rounds. So I have some basic critical, basically just critical defense from my understanding of a green tip instead of a red tip. I've got some of those floating around somewhere. They're kind of dingy now, but they're here. That is really cool that you're still on good terms with her, man. Shibasuru. Sorry, I kind of got to get the hang of this live stream thing. Andy said he never tried Ranger ammo. There's not a shortage in my garage, so I haven't been shopping to try new ammo. I don't change my carry ammo very often. I find a brand that works and seems to work reliably. I get, like I said, a couple hundred rounds, and if I chamber the same round excessively, I start noticing bullet setback, I shoot it the next time I'm out. In case you guys didn't know, I don't mean to insult anybody's intelligence. Let me see if I have one. Of course I do. Over time, when you chamber a round, eventually that the bullet will get pushed further back into the casing, or has the potential to. And what you end up with is a situation where there could be too much pressure inside there when it goes off. So from my experience, a little bit's not a big deal. That's why as soon as I notice it, I'll go ahead and toss it in the range bag to shoot the next time. Sometimes I save up a few of them and just shoot them at once to make sure that they're still kind of grouping in with my target ammo to kind of ensure that consistency. Shibasuru asks, what was the ammo that is like the Black Talon? That's going to be the Ranger Tees by Winchester. So they're very similar. I don't remember exactly what the controversy was with the Black Talons. I was pretty young when that happened, but I want to say that they were deemed cop killers. Probably hyperbole, because they did from what I saw, they did what all hollow points do. They opened up, and the brass or copper petals on them were a little bit sharp, but I don't know. It's probably politics that led to that. Just watching said, never married, no kids. My money is my money. I envy you, sir, at times. I love my wife and kids, but I do miss the ratio of disposable income I had at one point. 124 grain plus P gold dot is my carry load. I know Justin is a huge gold dot fan. Actually, the round I just pulled out was one of my hand loads. It's a 124 grain gold dot. I think it might be 115. I can't remember. I was only loading gold dots because I couldn't find any FMJ, so that was kind of an expensive reloading lesson there. But I've got a little stockpile of them, so that's kind of cool. Oh, dang. Michael Raines said, yes, cop killer, and people called them black felons rounds. And I don't doubt that. The people were crazy. That was back in the 90s, I think, and everything seems crazy looking back then. They could get through the vest made by the lowest bidder back in the day. Now, that is interesting. I thought it was all hype. There are some 5.7 rounds out there, 5.7 by 28, made by, I'm not even going to name the company because I don't want to get them in any kind of trouble or anything like that. But there are some that do very, very well through 3A armor. I think it's 3A. It's not level 3 plus by any means, but there are some that are great at getting through armor. The black Teflon coating on the black talons was scary. People said that it increased penetration, so you can use it against armored cops. Very interesting. Justin said they could not go through level 3A vest. Common misconception. Was it Justin, are you talking about the 5.7 rounds or the black talons? I'm going to confuse everybody bringing the 5.7 into it. Tokarev will punch through. Yes, some of the 7.62 by 25. I think that's what it is, 7.62 by 25. I don't know. I know the Tokarev rounds you're talking about. They are fast little guys, for sure. Well, guys, I am actually going to hop off here. I've got a couple other things to wrap up before bedtime tonight. I was up kind of early this morning. So stay safe. I will try to give you guys a little bit more notice next time before I go live. I would like to do this at least a couple more times before I go back to work. So that's always fun. Just watching just said Olight is having a sale on May 8th. I saw that. Definitely going to be taking a closer look at it for sure. So stay safe, folks. I will see you next time. Keep shooting. I should have more shooting videos up for you soon. All right.